Hello, listeners, and welcome to Teachers Have Issues. Yes, I am your host, Lana, the educator. If you're a first-time listener on this channel, welcome. Here we explore the latest educational trends, tackle pressing issues facing the education sector, conduct insightful interviews with people making a difference, and share stories of triumph and innovation from classrooms across the globe. If you're interested in all of this, then like and subscribe. Today on Teachers Have Issues, yes, I welcome my guest, Marie Arnaud-Thomas. Mrs. Arnaud-Thomas is a wife, mother, and grandmother who currently works as a social worker at the secondary school level. She has a Bachelor of Science in Sociology and Criminology from the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, as well as a postgraduate diploma in mediation. She's also received the Dean's Awards in Caribbean Addiction Studies. Anna-Marie experience spans work in juvenile corrections levels, as she served as the deputy manager at St. Michael's School for Boys, the juvenile home supervisor at St. Jude's School for Girls, senior house mother at the School for the Blind, as well as welfare officer at St. Dominic's Children's Home and youth camp assistant director at El Dorado Youth Camp. She styles herself as a youth advocate and goes by the motto, "If I could help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain." Her ambition is to share information that will aid parents in improving their parenting skills, plus guide children to discover their personal strengths and learn how to solve their daily challenges with discipline and diligence. Welcome, Anne-Marie, to Teachers Have Issues, yes.
Pleasant good afternoon. Thank you.
It's so good to have you. And thank you for agreeing to come and chat with us here on Teachers Have Issues, yes. So what's interesting is I saw that you described yourself as a youth advocate. Can you tell us a bit more about what that means to you, to be a youth advocate?
Okay, one of the characteristics of a school social worker or a social worker is to be an advocate. We say what speak for the voiceless, because we talk as social workers for the children, for the parents, for those abused, for those in need. So we have to speak for them. So when they come say they need help, we have to be there to say, this situation needs help. You need to get help. Either we can give it, or you can send you to someone, refer you to someone else who can help you. So it's always like a crying out for help so that we can let their pain be heard. So a child who may be living in an abusive situation, they come to you and they show the signs, and you have to be the voice to get help, the voice to help the family, to help the child, to make sure the child goes forward, to help the community, so that people can talk out. So it's really about advocating. For me, it's really the main thing for me in social work is to advocate, to
Right.
speak for the speakless.
Such an important job, such an important calling, I think, in society, you know. So how do you help students discover their personal strengths and develop the kind of discipline they would need to overcome their daily challenges?
All right. Discipline begins by knowing what the rules are and creating a behavior that goes to the positive side of the rules, and that behavior will take you forward. So let's say you have a child not coming regular and punctual to school. There may be a lot of reasons for that. It could be domestic. The parents don't have money. You have to help that way. Maybe they don't even know that what's available. There might be a bus that passes very close to the house. So you have to show them what is available and how to make what is available work for them, so it satisfy their needs. So we have a child coming from Arima, but they live Malabar. But if you take Maxi, I take a taxi from Malabar to go to Arima. And there's a Maxi, if you don't get a taxi, that carries you to Arima. And then you have to get something to come into Barataria to go to school if you go to school Barataria. But if you learn and you watch the system, there's a bus that passes there at maybe 6. That bus will bring you straight into the Quasi. When you reach the Quasi at 7 o'clock, you have more than enough time to walk in school and get in school before 7:45. But something that would appear to be so simple to us who work in the organization is not simple to the parents at all.
Right, for sure. Good point. So what strategies do you use to guide children who may feel overwhelmed by their circumstances? Just like their parents who don't know, what is out there for them. How do you, as a social worker, find what strategies do you use to guide those children to to work through their overwhelming circumstances?
All right, there's an old adage that says the problem you have, you already have the solution to it. So I base my philosophy on that. You already know what you're going through, but you just don't understand. You can't explain it to yourself. And you're so blocked with fear. Fear is what blocks. Fear, who knows and who don't know, and how they respond if they know it. I don't know that I know. So it's fear block you. When you've removed the fear, a child comes to you and say, I can't study. It's not working for me. I don't like school. Say, okay, tell me how your day goes. You come to school, do you go to all your classes? Well, no, I don't like the teacher. But therein lies the problem.
Yes.
Therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
So you try to build better rapport, give the child skills. Say, learn to be pleasant to your teacher. Learn to be less destructive in the classroom. So your teacher come in, but it will hurt you to say, good morning, miss. You don't start miss off on a good foot. Miss will look out for you rather than, what you doing here? Why you come here? No, miss will not want to teach you. Miss is human. Miss blood runs through Miss veins. It is so positive. You just when Miss come in class say, good morning, Miss, how are you? Miss they done make her ready. Miss willing to teach because that is what Miss is her duty, her vocation, her love. She come to share knowledge. But when you being disrespectful, no. So you learn to you teach them skills like that to be pleasant, to be polite, to be disciplined, to pay attention, to show eagerness and little steps. They say about a journey of 1,000 miles begin with one step. That journey of learning begins with good morning, miss.
All right.
And you build on that, you build on that. Tomorrow you say, miss, you know, you did subject and verb and I didn't understand it at all, but I'm so in shame to tell everybody. And you meet miss lunchtime.
Right.
And you meet miss at 4 o'clock, 2:30 when you're leaving. So miss, I could talk to you a minute. And miss will explain subject and verb agreement so quickly you would know it for the rest of your life.
Right.
You must make the first step and you must have humility. You must teach children need to be taught the power of humility and gratitude and respect, because those are powerful characteristics.
This might be a question that answers itself, but I still would like people to kind of know. Do you think it is important to have a social worker in school, and why?
Of course, it's important. It's 100% important. And each school should have one.
Why is that?
And I mean, we could give, you see the 2.5-year school, the child learning centers, they could go with their miss because miss is like auntie. So it's easy to communicate. And usually at 2.5-year school, if they have 40 children, they have plenty. But you live from 40 and go on to what, 300? A primary school, a class with 20 and 30, you're totally confused. You need intervention. And as you grow, remember at 2.5, you're cute. Mommy's all proud of you, cute. At 7 and 8, you become a little not so nice human being. And then by that time, mommy challenges will have changed, as does the world change. To be financial, emotional, job-wise, personal relationship. So mommy has now have a mountain of other things add to her, including your age. So yeah, so you need someone to bounce off. And social workers, as we keep saying, that sometimes people underestimate, it's not just for the children. It is more, I think, for the parents.
Very good.
All a parent needs is a sounding board, you know. Just to come in and say, miss, you don't know why she don't come to school, you know, because your father don't give me no money, and they must pay me late on a Friday, and all that she want to just let somebody hear. And some people are not fortunate to have a pastor who works so well. The communities where pastors are vibrant, we have less complaints. And that is a fact, a scientific fact. When the research is done, the communities that have functioning pastors, respected pastors, have less complicated and challenged children.
This takes us very well into my next question here, because you said that your ambition is to help parents improve their parenting skills. So what are some of the other common issues you see parents struggle with, and then how do you assist them?
One of the simplest things, amidst all the challenges of life, amidst all the drama. You see that thing called love language? It's something we teach as school social workers, the parent. How to show your child that you love them. And to realize that you have 5 children and each child have a different love language. And when you find out what your child love language is, it breaks down that concrete wall of miscommunication. When you can reach out to a child, okay, let's say you have 5 children. Your eldest child might like praise. Okay, you come home and things are not 100% copacetic, as we say. But you say, oh, thanks for fixing the tray on the table. I really so appreciative. That child is happy, top of the world. They can communicate with you. You come home and there's one at the door waiting to hug and kiss. You hug and kiss, you don't shun. I had a hard day, don't talk to me. No. If you gotta love you, sweetie, can't hug and kiss up mommy. That child has been satisfied. That child emotional needs have been satisfied.
Good.
So you have another happy child there who will also come to you at another time. Then you have a child, you bring 1 grain of nuts. Say, if you really know, I buy this nuts in the bus when I was coming up, and I remember and I leave a little bit in the nuts. That child is on top of the world. My mother remember to give me some nuts because she buy 1 pack of nuts.
Yes.
And that's what she bring home for me. That gift, I on top of the world. So you satisfy that child. And then you have the child who, none of that will work. But she come home and you see, not every day you're going to do it. But I say, babes, you didn't tell your room today. Well, I'll hang up a towel and put away your sleeping clothes. That child, that act of service, that child is on top of the world. When parents begin to understand and respond to their children's love language, it's the beginning of the destruction of miscommunication. And that is just the beginning. We could go with a thesis for this.
That's excellent. So what advice would you give to parents in fostering resilience in their children to help them make their children more resilient? Because society out there not easy for these young people. What advice would you want to give parents?
Pay attention to your children every day. Your love language is one thing, but pay attention. The human being is an animal of habit. When the habit changes, something is wrong. And usually something negative. Sometimes it can be something positive too.
Yeah.
But generally, when a human being changes their habit, something rare is going on. So you need to communicate with the definite communication, open communication. Don't be quick to judge, to be judgmental. Judgmental is not going to get you anywhere. In fact, you'll quicker lose your child and lose your child to the streets. Do not judge them. Do not judge their father. Do not judge their teacher. Do not judge their friends. Do not judge. They come and tell you somebody have a blue eye. Oh, blue. What? I wonder how they get blue eyes. Maybe something in the genetics. Blue eyes are the ugliest people in the world. No. That is going to make you lose your child instant, like coffee. So the open communication, the love language, the observation. Observe. I know it is hectic as a parent. Some parents are working 2 jobs, 1.5 job, traveling 4 hours to go and come from work. That is tiring. But amidst all that, we have to find time and make time because they are our responsibility. And we have to realize that we are setting them up for a future without us. We are not going to be there when they're 18 and 24 and 30 and 50, you know. If we pray that they live to that so long and we can see them reap the benefits of our planting of education in their lives, to see them bear the fruits of education. They are just with us for a period of time.
Right.
And if a child stays with us to 18 years, which we like to say, are we going to mind until 18 and they can do what they want? Honestly, parents, it don't end at 18. Even if you have an educated child, a child in university, a child in university at 24 calling home, mommy, this didn't happen, my grand didn't come in time, I need help. That's your child. You say, oh, you're 18, I'll leave you alone. You can't do that.
That's
right. So it doesn't end at 18. But what is wonderful is that you can work from conception to 18 to lay a foundation that could carry a skyscraper.
right.
Go to the big one in Dubai, make a skyscraper like that.
Right.
Right.
So I'm glad that you're talking about children and their parents, because I want to ask about the role you think family dynamics play in the issues you encounter with students. What role does family dynamics play in those issues you encounter with students?
One of our famous quotations is what? The parent is the first teacher. That is another thesis. Parent is the first teacher. You must, if the parents have the ability and the willingness to do what needs to be done at home, we'll have awesome students at school. We'll have productive students at school. If the parent from conception to when they come, even to the 2.5, if you are teaching your child manners from home, when that child goes to 2.5 year school, they know, yes, miss, no, miss, thank you, miss, please, miss. That makes teaching of that child easier.
Right.
And learning, teaching for the teacher easier and learning for the child easier. Because the child is already following rules, knowing that there are boundaries, and knowing that there are things that are expected, the expectations of them, and the rewards that come with the expectation, satisfying the expectations. So yes, family dynamics is it goes right through. And another thing we say is what? The school, the family, the community, and the child.
Yes.
Child at the center, that's it, that's the tripod you have there. So family dynamics, awesome. And I'll be quite aware, we're not going to put our head in the sand like the ostrich. We're quite aware that most families, to get a percentage of families, especially in Trinidad, I can speak for, a single parent family, extended, those who are fortunate will have an extended family and an active extended family. And then you have the blended families. Some are very positive and some are very negative.
Yes, for sure.
So the family is again the backbone, the vertebrae of the child and the child's performance in society.
Good point. So what emerging trends have you noticed in the types of issues students bring to you? What are some of the trends that you see to particular types of issues?
Right now, top priority for, as a school social worker, devices. See that thing called the cell phone? See that thing called the internet? See that thing called the what they have it? The WhatsApp and the Instagram. It's very destructive. It's emotionally destructive. It's psychologically disruptive. Students, not people, let's leave students alone. Students, for some notorious reason, find nothing good to do with it. And I would say that of 60% of the students. You can take that same phone you have in your hand, that same iPad, that same tablet, and learn a foreign language, go over all your English exercise, go over your history, go over your geography, do your chemistry. You can take that same tablet and sit down for 1 hour and go over a subject. Yet, because you choose, maybe lack of guidance, you sit down and either go on a game, or the gamers are something else. They go 4 and 5 hours, but they won't put 4 and 5 hours into the schoolwork.
Right.
They will not, and as I've said, a grandparent, some you have to negotiate. Okay, you get 2 hours of gaming. I want 2 hours or 3 hours of studying. The boundaries have to be set. And so that is a lot. That is still giving a lot. Because it can be used positively. You can put your child on and do the English exam right there. So the misuse, the abuse of the devices and the internet cause a lot of problems. It cause fights in school, because sexual abuse, bullying, drugs, gambling. All these negative behaviors that are testing the children needs to be addressed.
How do you help them deal with those social media pressures? How do you help them navigate that?
We would like to say put down the phone. We would like to say ban all phones. We like to say nobody under 18 should have a phone. But the world is not going to listen to that. So managing the phone, I take the parents over and over. There are apps that you can monitor your children's phone, what time they're on, up to what they're doing, what sites they're on. So for parents, find out who knows how to do it, get your children phones, find apps so that you know what they're doing. That's a start for parents. So when you as a parent do that, you know whether your child is on Facebook or watching porn, or you can see that because there's a connection, there's an app where you can see what your child is seeing. Then you can deal with that. And that too will deter that kind of behavior. So for parents, I say find out how you can get onto that. Decrease the times. I know it is hard because it is very difficult to decrease the time, but the devices are too much. They take them too much time.
And
these time to study.
these pressures, this social media thing, they bring their issues, their real life issues onto social media. So there are issues like bullying, there are issues like, substance abuse, there are issues like just anxiety, and it brings a new kind of experience to children who may have been coming out of primary school and now into secondary school. Having dealt with some of these things, now it's compounded when they go on social media. So how do you address the rise in issues like bullying and anxiety among students as a social worker?
Okay, so as a social worker, when these issues come up, parents, of course, are called in. Have the children decrease the time on that. Of course, there'll be parent intervention, student intervention, because a crisis would have happened. So maybe a set of people, a set of students would have taken a picture of a girl and say she ugly and her hair not nice and things like that. And that would have caused a problem for the child, made the child very negative, don't want to return to school, have the anxiety attack, low self-esteem, low self-confidence, and the child will be in their own depression, just wallowing in depression. And of course, interventions are called because a report would have been made. So set up things, place things on the internet for my child. Parents will be called in and the students will be called in and they will be spoken to. And we try our best to manage it. And those students will be monitored. And we encourage parents to monitor it. So we try to minimize the amount of time that they're on the devices and to minimize the amount of activity they have. And hoping that the less time they have to be on the devices, the less time they have to bully or discriminate against someone else.
So what would you say, I know you talked about the social media and the devices, but what would you say are some other common issues that you address today compared to when you started as a social worker?
Okay, as a social worker, one of the most painful things for me in the last 5 years is death by murder.
Oh my, yes.
I have had so many children. A secondary school usually about 600 children. That's the start. And I have had so many children, family, shot, murdered, guilty and innocent. I would remember one case in particular, a young man came to school, and it's amazing. Grief and loss is one of the topics that we treat with in school. We do anxiety, we do grief and loss, we do bullying, things like with self-esteem, self-confidence, sexual abuse, pregnancy, teenage pregnancy. Those are the topics that we deal with. So suddenly you might be having a session and you're talking, so okay, today we're talking about grief and loss and the stages of grief and the denial and things like that. And I remember in this particular session, I was doing grief and loss and talking about when you're in denial and when you're angry. And I asked the class, the group, maybe about 12 of them or so, I said, who's recently, experienced grief? Come on. And I said, I have experienced grief. I am now an orphan, both my parents are dead, so I have experienced grief. So talk to me about it. And students put up their hands and they said things like, my granny died and I was very close to my granny, or somebody got cancer, or somebody had AIDS, and they talk and talk. And some people, they say, my cousin got shot and this one got shot and my father got shot and whatever. And there was this student and he put his hands up and he said, I said, so what happened to you? And he said, my daddy got shot the night before.
Oh my.
And I asked, what you doing in school? He said, we said to go to school. And to just leave that there alone, because for lack of identification, I at that moment, as the people said, you chopped me, I wasn't getting blood. I had to say, oh, how are you feeling? He said, okay, Mr. Sel, we will talk later. And then I went back to the grief. I said, as for grief, you're going to be angry, you'll be in denial, you can't believe it happened. Then you want to bargain with God, I'll behave myself better if daddy was to come back alive. And went through it like a computer, just saying what should have been done, and then took the child aside and we had our conversation. But murder, Boxing Day, my students calling for somebody get shot. Some on a weekend, your phone ring or somebody gets shot. Oh, that's this last 5 years, crime has been damaging the students, and damaging is the correct word.
Yes.
But a child whose cousin gets shot and who may have seen the body on the road and all that kind of drama is irreversible, unseeable. When you see it, you could never unsee it. So you come into school with that image in your face, either who brains splat over, who guts all over the place. You got to come to school and act normal and go to your class. That has been the heaviest burden for me to carry as a school social worker.
Mm. And how do you help them deal with that? Is it that they have to go to a number of sessions and then you have, because it's also going to be resonating, of course, throughout their home, not just in school. How do you deal with that?
Usually parents and the family, especially if it's mother, they usually have sessions for that through TTPS, through child protective services, because parents will have to go in and say who the children are related to or who. So you have child protection services will do their part. The school social worker will do sessions, individual sessions, but the children, sometimes we do even a group. Sometimes there are so many incidents of death that we form a group. To have a group of 5 or 6 and everybody come and try to go through the stages and understand what is going through and understanding. One of the things that we sell as social workers is that whoever has passed, you are now going to make them proud.
Yeah.
Whoever your daddy gone, your uncle gone, remember the things uncle used to do, carry fishing, carry in the mall. You have to come to school, finish your academic education to make uncle feel very good, wherever uncle is. So you can say, yes, well, I really invested in my nephew, and my nephew do real good.
Yeah.
So you sell that dream, that vision, that plan, so that they come with a purpose now. You get them a purpose. Yes, it happened, but education is the way out. And then you narrate, you sell stories of other persons in life who have had rough beginnings and who took education and went far with it.
So how do you build trust and rapport with students like that? Because they're coming in and you're an adult and just to say, well, come and talk to me just like that. How do you build trust?
And even with parents at home, let them talk. Communication is them. Let them talk. A child come in and say, my daddy got shot and they don't want to talk. And you sit down and you coax. So what you remember about daddy? I remember daddy going fishing or you going to the movies. What's the last thing daddy do? Nothing daddy do. Daddy said he just go and climb in the motor to get new sneakers. And then you let them talk. And they will talk and they will talk and they will talk. And by talking, they will heal themselves.
Yeah.
So they will know, okay, my daddy, whatever happened, my daddy got shot, but my daddy was a good daddy to me. And even in cases where daddy wasn't 100%, you realize that daddy too had problems, right? You sell that to them. Daddy would have done better, but daddy had issues, daddy had challenges, and it's you to make sure you go better. But as long as you set the pace, the children will talk. They will talk and they will share, and as they share, you guide for healing. Those of them who are heavy in church, you work with that. Those of them who live on the streets and just know street life, you bring as many examples as you can from even in the community or even on a movie or a show or video, something that they can relate to. And then they will expand on that, and you start to build a self-esteem, build a trust in themselves. And then and as long as you are honest and you have set a precedent where they can trust you, they would come again and they will tell their friend. They will tell their friend, they say, talk to Miss, she's real talk to you.
Right. But coming out of all of these things, because children are, as you said, murder is really just something that's widespread, crime itself, but murder. And that has severe impact on the society and on our youth. So, and I think some emotional and mental impact as well. So how do you handle cases where students face mental health issues? I'm sure you might have come across some of those.
Yes, we have mental health issues. And of course, there's always a spectrum, low mental health to high mental health. I have had a student who had to be totally medicated. And it was sad because to support the family, I would attend clinic. And it was tearful. I had to actually hold myself up, take deep breaths, because I went with the father and the student to the psychologist, the psychiatrist, living in Mount Hope. And I mean literally living in Mount Hope, because you're trying to get help and it's a challenge. And having to deal with it. So sometimes when it's beyond us, definitely we refer them to child guidance. And then they go even beyond child guidance to the real psychiatric wards. And they are medicated and
So sometimes is it that you notice that they have mental issues? I'm sure people see things and they say, well, that's how they always were, that's how the child always was. But is it that sometimes you have come across the child and you've recommended that they go for, further help? Is that an experience of yours?
Yes. And you will see sometimes it might be simple things that a child shaking all the time. Every time you see the child, calm down, calm down. You have a session and child always twitching. And you ask, first of all, check with the parents. Do you all notice this at home? Was the anxiety only in school? And then you do some investigation, you talk to the parents, see if they ever been diagnosed, or some children come diagnosed and parents will say nothing. I don't know why they don't say anything. It's not your fault that your child has a condition.
Yes.
It's not your fault.
Right.
There's nothing to be ashamed of if your child ADHD or bipolar or dyslexic. It's not your fault.
Right.
It's not your fault. So you come and you say secretly to the teacher, if you don't want to make a big announcement, okay, John, your form teacher is Miss Smith. I have to make friends with Miss Smith. So I come and say, Miss Smith, I am John's mommy. And well, when John was 5, he had an incident and they say that he kind of bipolar. So I have to throw an eye on him for me, please. And you could also be so kind to give Miss a little copy. So I'd Miss send it to the social worker. So I would have it on file that he has been diagnosed, that it's not chronic, but it's mild, but we need to look at it. Tell me something. Don't have me in a void.
Right.
Not informed.
Yeah.
So usually, yes, you notice that, and sometimes even guidance will pick it up and they refer to the specialist. We're having a new thing now with students who either speak too fast like myself, speak too slow, or they can't pronounce these letters. They can't, the vocals, yet they're intelligent. They read, they write, they do their math. But when to open their mouth and say it, it does not come out smooth. And therefore, those children need special attention and through guidance and special ed, that is sought. So we try to deal with it that way.
Right. So as this podcast segment is called Teachers Have Issues, yes, I would ask you, I think one of the best person to ask, because you have an inside kind of voice from the students themselves, but from also your own perspective, if you choose to take it that way, what issues would you say teachers have?
From a school social worker perspective, and I say this with the deepest sincerity, the main issue that a teacher has will be engaging parents, or the lack of engaging parents, the lack of parent support, the lack of parent communication, and the lack of parent teaching discipline to the children. When a teacher comes into a classroom and the children are respectful and disciplined and really come with an attitude to learn, to accept, to respect that 40 minutes, the children will learn so much. When time is spent, a teacher wants to teach. They could have chosen to be a nurse, a doctor, an engineer, a taxi driver. They chose for some reason to go this path, whether because of their church, family history, they got a vision, whatever. They have decided that I am going to teach. One, they have decided that they're going to teach secondary school children. They are quite aware of what they are walking into. But when I walk into this space, this classroom of 20 and 25, and 20, because not all 25 are going to be bad.
And 20, sometimes it's the reverse, it's 40, sometimes it's 40 and 30.
Exactly. Yeah? Right. So I have this number. Let's go with 30 as a balance. 30 students, of which 25 are disruptive, disrespectful, unmannerly. It takes away when I come to say, okay, good morning, students. We are doing subject and verb agreement today. Somebody will ask, why happened to you? Why you go where you come from? What happened to you? Something wrong? How am I teaching? When parents send those children to school, it negatively affects the other children whose parents send them to sit down and listen. So yes, teachers have a lot of issues. I see that. If that issue is addressed to parents, that's why we keep saying parents come to parents meeting, parents come to parent education meeting. Let us help you to improve your parental skills so you can send better equipped children to school and make the teaching process easier for the teacher and your child so that your child can be more productive. When a teacher comes in and spends 20 out of 40 minutes, who then pelt a paper and who drag a chair and who foot on top of the chair and who phone in the air, and when she spends 20 minutes, how she teaching in the next 20 minutes? And that will demoralize any human being.
Yes.
I come with my PowerPoint or my little Bristol board and my little tic-tacs to show you how to join the dots, how to visually, orally, technically teach you how to learn with the skills of my hands. And when I come in, half of my time is dealing with indiscipline. When a teacher gets a disciplined child, yes, salaries are a problem. Yes, resources are a problem. Yes, whatever the health benefits and all the things and the money late and the promotion late, all those are problems and they will deal with that. But it makes the problem, that problem, or those problems become so overbearing when you have disrespectful children. If a teacher has 40, 30, 40 students who are respectful, when she comes in, they write in a note, the name, the date in the notebook, they write down the homework. When she comes next week, yes, we all did chapter 1, verses 7 to 16. And she gets that. Yes, the lack of salary, respective placement of salary would affect you, but it wouldn't affect you so much. Yes, my medical not being addressed at how I should get my medical, but I would be better. Yes, I don't have a good desk and I don't have AC and all those will still be there.
Yeah.
But he or she, the teacher, will be more comfortable when they have children. They will feel accomplished and successful. As I said to children, when you sit an exam, and you pass, your teachers feel good. When you sit an exam and you fail, your teachers already passed that exam. Who win or who lose? Who really win or lose it? You come in, you apply yourself diligently, you be respectful, you ask for help. You pass an exam, your teacher is up in the clouds, right? You come in, you curse, you fight, you gamble, you run away, you're living in the toilet for every period, had to be running you down. She's frustrated, you sit the exam, you fail. She still have a Bachelor of Science degree in education. What do you have? And you waste 5 years. So yes, teachers have issues. I say emphatically, the lack of engaging parents, the lack of parents giving the support that the teachers need. A child will come and say, Miss put me outside the class because I was cussing. And the parents will come to cuss the teacher.
Yeah.
And you want to know why? 2 years, not even 3, 2 years down the road, you hear they got shot, God forbid.
Yeah.
How you could come and support that?
Right.
You have a right to education. You could do what you can put my child in the class. Your child was cursing an adult. That's a charge. And instead you come and say, hey, Mr. come to apologize on behalf of my child. I come to make sure my child apologize to you. That is not the kind of behavior I will tolerate. I come with my child to say sorry and it won't happen again. You come to look for the teacher by the gate to cuss. Parents, peace be to you. It is very, no, it is heartening. But you can see, as I said, teachers can choose to be, and teachers have a degree, you know. They can work anywhere. Teachers can work any part of the world. They can leave Trinidad and go England, they can go Germany, they can go Australia, they can go any part of the world. They decide to stay and give back to their country, give back to the community. Most of the teachers live in the area they school in. 1, because it's easy to commute back and forth. 2, because they may have younger children going to the primary school, so it's easy to pick them up. Or they may have children in secondary school, if not that secondary school, a similar secondary school in the area. So they want to give back, they could choose. So they're there. They're trying to give back. They're trying to boost the school. Well, okay, we set up 75 and 75 get 1s and 2s. When they set up 75 and 75 get 3s and 4s. Who reigned for that? What glory does a teacher have for that? There's no glory in that. So you see the parents, and we keep asking. We would have meeting. A class would have 25, 30 students. We will call a PTA meeting for the class. I get 5 students, 5 parents. What is that? What is that? That's embarrassing, it's degrading, it's disgusting. So I mean 5 out of the 30 alone care about the children. So and most of the time, if the father behaving good at, the father studying and giving up the homework and giving up the assignment and bringing the projects on time. And the other 25 who don't bring assignments, don't do projects, never in class, always gambling, smoking weed, your parents don't even come to the meeting. And that is very frustrating. for teachers and social workers.
For sure. So it's a very heavy job that you're doing. What inspired you to become a social worker? Was was that the first career choice? What inspired you to do this?
My first career choice, Miss, I grew up a long time ago, and women working was not an option. My mother was among few to work. Not a lot of women were allowed to stay at home and look pretty. So of course, growing up in that environment, I thought that was what I was going to do. Grow up, look pretty, have children, and just look pretty. But when the reality hit, I said, no, this can't work. And I always, there's also, my saint name is Teresa, which is the time for the fasting of the saint now. And Saint Teresa is the saint for the children, the one for the children, the flowers. So I think it was this time that I would like working with children. And I've always worked with children. I'm not in academics with children, but I've worked with children in institutions. I've worked with children with challenges at Blind Welfare, and all my work with children my works have been rewarding. I have been there are days I walk, my children say when I walk the streets, every other corner is, hi, miss, how you going, miss, you okay? You're driving somewhere, hi, miss, how you going? It's been very rewarding, and I have had up and down. I have children who are Coast Guard, police. I'm very proud of prison officers. I have children who are nurses and nursing assistants. And I also have children who are in maximum prison. So yes.
So that inspired you because you liked working with children. How did you lead to you studying social work and moving into that field and staying for the length of time that you have?
Oh wow. As I said, my first was to be wife and mother and glorifying that. And of course that did not work out. So I started in food, strange enough. I am a qualified chef for Toronto Tobago Hotel School.
Right.
So I did my 2 years, we used to say 2 years of jail at hotel school, and I came out, and I worked at Hilton for a while and other hotels, and it wasn't clicking. It was nice, but it wasn't clicking. And then I met one of the Sister Joan Shalry, deceased, and she and I attended a conference out of NJAL, Something for You Development. And we talked, and then I told her, well, I was looking for something to do, and she said, well, come by St. Jude's. And I started at St. Jude's.
Right.
That's St. Jude's, right?
Yeah. So as we're on this, you have worked in various capacities, as I said in your bio, in juvenile homes for the blind, St. Jude's, and so forth. What are some of the important lessons you think you've learned about supporting those vulnerable populations? Every place that I think I mentioned in your bio, those are vulnerable populations you're working with: the blind, St. Jude's, St. Michael's, and then, you come into schools where then you have a further vulnerable populations among the general population. What are some of the important lessons you've learned about supporting those types of students or children?
As we always say, love what you do. Love what you do. As I say, I respect teachers because I know some part of their anatomy, their psyche, love children. So you have to love what you do. Love helping. So it means helping people. I like to see people progress, to move from stage 1 to stage 2. I like to share dreams. I'm a dreamer. So even with blind children, I have blind children who sat CSEC exams and went on to live well. You know what I mean? I have blind children who are married and have children who are not blind.
Right.
So it's sharing a dream, showing that you can do it, being honest, being sincere, setting expectation goals that they can meet, goals that they can accomplish. Not no pie in the sky, you're going to be the first billionaire or trillionaire. No. You could work, you could have a happy life, you could travel. And letting them see that it is possible. They can dream a dream and make the dream a reality. But to be honest, to be kind, to be respectful, to be understanding, to be empathetic, to listen. With all the children, all St. Jude's, St. Michael's, even El Dorado, where those girls are there to learn a trade and they live in a dorm. They show different aspects of life, and you do not, non-judgmental, of course, it is. You're going to meet, as in any person in interacting job, you're going to meet all types of persons, different colors, different creed, different races. even they show nationality, because I've had students who are not Trinidadians, of course, and their parents are here and they came in, and we treat them as equal. We help them to grow, to be comfortable. And you try to make them comfortable in what the space that they are. There's a thing you say, take your rat hole and make it into a palace. Yes, take your rat hole and whatever rat hole you're living in, make it into a palace. But people say pain does make old thing look new.
Yes.
Fix it.
Right.
Everything can be fixed with time and effort. Anything. The children, even I've had children heavy on marijuana. Some have come off, some have not, some went on worse other things. But with help and with support and with showing that there's a possibility. You see, if you have a dream that, hey, tomorrow morning I could get up and I could get a job in the bank. Let's say that's it. So I'm in school, I'm in Form 3. I'm really good in my English and maths. I could work a little better in my POB and I could do a science subject. And I really would like to work in the bank as a teller. And you start to do all the little things, all the little short courses, all the little conferences. When they have field trips, you go, you get your little award, your participation certificates. So when you present yourself for that job, you present not, as I keep telling you, you don't only present your 5 and 6 subjects. You present whether you're playing football. The bank might hire you not because you have O levels alone, you know, because you're a good footballer. You're singing in a choir, you're playing an instrument, you can play a band. Those are the other things you take with you. And those things help build you. Sometimes people say, oh, when you study, you must study alone. No. At least one extracurricular activity is an asset to any studying.
You know, I'm sitting and I'm thinking, I don't remember any school I attended, like probably in my time, that there was a school social worker. I don't know if putting social workers into the school system was a new thing, like in the last few decades or so. I don't remember having like access to a social worker. How does that work? How do you guys come into the school? How does that work? From where do you guys come from?
Okay. I too do not recall a social worker in my school. Social workers might have came out maybe the last 2 decades.
Right, yeah, it had to be, yeah.
Last 2 decades. Last 2 decades. One of the things that people like to blame, and it's a kind of twang into that when they stop beating children went away. It's not the beating of the children. Is the misunderstanding of the children. Because the children grew differently. They talk about age gap. There's a drastic, wide age gap between I and my grandchildren. My phone case came. I can put it on how to call my grandson to do it. And it's a simple phone case.
Yeah, yeah.
So imagine the kind of things he knows that I don't know. And therein lies the problem, because some people feel that a child should not know more than you. A child have a right to know more than you. That's why they send them to school. And some people feel belittled when the children appear to know more than them. Some people are embarrassed the children. So because you go in secondary school, you feel better than me.
Yeah.
You should be glad they're better than you. You should be glad they're better than you. And that problem started in the home, expanded itself in the school, and the need and the numerous social issues that developed in the last 20 years. Crime has gone, wow. You can imagine in your school, anybody in your school, anybody had a murder in the family 20 years ago?
No.
But I have many.
Yeah.
I am in my school 5 years and I've had many. And I'm talking about day to day. Right. So that is one.
Yeah.
Rape was not a popular thing. Yes, it had you occasional rape 20 years ago. Rape popular now. You said when you're sending your child to school, you have to say so many people say so many Hail Mary and our Father. So they had to take a maxi, they had to take a bus, they had to take a taxi. Some of which, sometimes is how far the children have to travel. Your children traveling from Valencia to Barataria. How is that possible? What computer computed that? You know, transportation a child has to take. She has to take a car out of Valencia to get to Valencia Junction. She has to take a maxi from Valencia to get to Barataria. And you see the distance, that is at least 2 hours, And so 2 hours can happen in 2 hours. So now next stop perverting the maxi. Or in the bus. Sexually abusing your child every morning, and your child, you know how to come and talk about it. Right. That is one of the many reasons of the social issues why school social workers had to be planted in schools.
Schools, yes. Yeah. And you guys come out of the Ministry of Education?
Yes, we do.
Right. Good. So, and a lot of heavy things here. How do you take care of yourself? How do you keep yourself centered and motivated and not get lost in all the the heavy and terrible things that you hear? How do you take care of yourself?
As I tell my children, love yourself first. I say, when you say you can't love God and don't love yourself, you know. So it's you and then God. And you start with that. Love yourself, take care of yourself. I teach it all the time to the children and the parents. Physically, make sure you're taking your exercise, you're eating, you're sleeping. Manage yourself. You have to manage yourself. You have to eat well, sleep well, exercise. If it's once a month, according to how your budget is, you take yourself to the movies or you go to the beach. Self-care. Emotionally, know that you are grounded in something, whether it's your religion, your philosophy, know that you are grounded in something. Believe in yourself too, that I will make it, that I will rise above it, that I will serve a purpose. That, as I say, I will help somebody as I walk along. I remember Dickens used to say, what? If I write 100 books and one person read one book and change their life, I've done my job. So you have to be deeply rooted in a purpose. Your spirituality is your business, but you must have it. You must have something that is greater than you. If you want to be the moon, the stars, the ocean, you must have that. And of course, you must love, besides loving, you must love what you do. If you love to bake and you want to comb hair, you are going to be the worst hairdresser. You're going to be the worst hairdresser. You may have the skills. Oh, yes, I can plait and I can braid and I can cane a rope. But the passion will not be that. People feel it and they will want to come to you. But when you're going to bake bread, everybody running to buy bread, bread sweet. You have to love what you're doing. So for me, I have a very, very, very supportive family, my children and grandchildren. I have friends, co-workers, social workers. I have a team that's strong and everybody needs that. No man is an island. Your family, you try to make your best. And all families are not the 100%, but you try to make the best of it and hold on to who you can hold on to. As we say, hold on to the positive, mute the negative, right? And find peace. Find time for your peace when you want to do your meditation, your prayer, you know, that time for you alone. I am happy, as I said, to have a family that well supports me.
Nice.
You know?
So what's a moment in your career that you will never forget? A success story that you think maybe made a significant difference in a student's life?
There are so many.
I could imagine. And I'm glad to hear it's a positive one, because I'm sure there are many negative ones as well.
Yes. There are so many. So you know, and I'll try and maybe just give you 3 short ones.
Yeah.
Remember walking down Wrighton Road and going for a barrel. But I was going to meet my brother here at the van. And I'm coming on, and this car, this Hilux, pull up next to me. Miss Thomas, what are you doing walking on Wrighton Road? And I look at one of my students. I say, I'm good, baby, I'm good. My brother is picking me up. That was awesome.
Right.
One of my own, and one of my female students said that.
Right.
It's a good one. I remember when my second daughter was in primary school, them days I really was housewife and mother. And I went into school to see her. I went to clinic and I went into school to see her. And the school was making a roca set of noise. And I said, the classroom, and I said, what's going on? I said, Miss ain't come today, and they ain't send nobody. I said, but Dad, you all have tables to learn, all in standard 1, standard 2, whatever you all win. You have tables, you have spelling, learn something, make a little group and learn something. I said, time wasted can never be regained, you know. Yes, Miss Arnaud, yes, Miss. And I left, and then I started to work at St. Jude's. And those days, the children used to come in the Justice and Time van, which was one of the most criminal things that could have happened at the time. They have done better now.
Yeah.
And this child came out of the van, and I am doing the intake. So what is your name, where you living, what? Ask the police officer, what is the charge? And I'm writing the book. And she looks to me and she said, Miss Baker, because my children's last name is Baker. She said, Miss Baker, you didn't remember me? I said, no, sweetie. She said, you Aisha's mommy? I said, yeah. She said, Miss, remember the day you said time wasted can never be regained? I nearly died. I literally, even now that I'm speaking about it, I just couldn't believe that I could say something to somebody, and years after they could put, because she was in her teens now.
Yeah.
She might have been 7 or 8 when I told her that. But
Impact.
no, that is one that I will not forget. And there are, as I said, there are so many others. There's so many others. You know, you get invited to graduation, and one of your boys walking out as a prison officer. One of your girls walking out as a police officer. One of them walking out as a Coast Guard. It has been very rewarding. And because of those successes, I'm able to tell the children now that it can happen. Because I have proof. I have proof that children came from similar circumstances, no parents in jail, parents, and at that time when AIDS was prominent, every other person had AIDS. And I had children with so many parents with AIDS, and it's like, how are we going to do this? But we have done it, you know, and I have had so to talk. So when I talk to children now, I say, this is what happened, and this is what this person reached, and you can do it. You just have to keep steadfast, keep on it. You will fall down, but you will get up, and talk like that. There's an incident that one of the most emotional, psychological, damaging statement I heard from a child. I was working at St. Jude's. It was Christmas. My children used to call a lot when I work Christmas, but I know that the children needed me, so I should try and get at least one shift for Christmas. So I think I had worked the night before, and I was working into the morning, and we came with breakfast, and they tried. The nuns always tried to make sure they had things to eat and give fun, you know, a real Christmas food. And we were there giving out gifts and eating ham and thing, and this child sat down in a corner and was crying. I said, what happened? You miss mommy? I said, come now. She said, no. She said, no, miss, I ain't miss mommy, you know. She said, I want everybody here, and everybody could still talk about their mother. And she said, miss, you know what my mother said? She said, how I take her milk out of her coffee. That's another time I could have just opened the earth and fall in. And don't have a clue how to respond. And sometimes making a joke is the best thing. I said, what should we talk about milk and coffee? Girl, come, let's get some ham to eat. But I know what she's talking about. She's saying that her mother stole her man. And I had to throw it off. And when you do that, just snap. I said, hey, girls, I'm talking about that. What milk and coffee talking about? Come, let's get something to eat. But of course, I had to address that after.
Yeah.
And there are many children who go through that too. Their parents, frustrated, angry, disappointed, abused, take it out on their children indirectly, sometimes directly too. And then we have to deal with those children in school. So imagine somebody telling you that the morning before you come to school, you're giving the teacher thunder. She getting thunder. She getting to know what position she was in the night before. Imagine a mother said that to her child.
Yeah.
And that was not the first one.
So your motto is, if I could help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. And that comes out of one of a song I think many of us would know.
Exactly.
Just, you know, and that is a very powerful motto to have. How has that guided your career and your life choices?
By exactly what the word says. The words are saying. Sometimes when my back is against the walls, I tell the children, to their days, you're going to get up. And your back is, and I show them physically, your back is physically going to be against the wall. And it might just be you and your God. That's why you need to have a good relationship. Tell them, I say, call God. So when you're in trouble, he hear your voice, he knows you. When you don't talk to him, he don't know you. So when you're in trouble, who is that calling me? I don't know you, and he walks off. But when you're custom calling him, hey, good morning, thanks for the morning, thanks for that little Spanish exam, I get a little 16, thanks for the food I get this morning, thanks for box lunch, thanks for that playing football, and you keep talking to him, or whatever date you want to call it, then they will recognize your voice will be recognizable. So the day that you're back against the wall and there is nobody else there, and you say, hey, say, yes, I know that is Anne-Marie. I'm telling you this morning. So yes, if I could help somebody
as I pass along.
As I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. As you said, I was an old primary school song. I wish they would bring it back. I talk to my children about it. I talk to my students about it and help them to see it and let them be the little mantra too, you know. So now if they're unkind, I say, unkindness don't pay. I said, if you are saying they say witchcraft, ungrateful worse than witchcraft. I said, come on, man, don't do that. I said, try to be kind and let your kindness go, whether they bad talk you, they whatever, they disrespect you. You be kind. You just let your motto be kindness, and you will reap. I said, take my word. Tell them, I said, bring news to me when I'm dead. Let the ants bring news to me when I'm dead. That you will succeed.
How long have you been doing social work, Anne-Marie?
Wow, 30 years.
Right. So what advice would you give to aspiring social workers who want to make a difference in the lives of young people?
One, make sure that it's a career you want to do. It's something that you want to do. Love what you're doing. Be respectful, be honest, be kind, be sympathetic. Listen. And know that it's not the children or the students that you need to work with or should work with. You need to work with the parents, and even more the parents. Do as much as you could to help. Be the best that you can. Love what you're doing. And rejoice in your rewards. And it will not be monetary, yeah? It will not be $1 billion. But be rejoice. When your child pass, you stand up, because we watch when children come in at Form 1. Teachers, guidance officers, social workers is like ours, they come in 1. And we watching you till 5. We want to be there. When you put on that coat, we want to go to the graduation party. We want to see you dress up nice. And we talk about that.
Right.
Say, hey, graduation, and when you're in Form 1, hey, you had to be in graduation, you had to graduate. And when they reach up to Form 4, say, hey, 1 year to go. Come on, hold on, 1 year to go. Think about graduation. We're looking good. We're coming out, and you give them a little boost, let me go.
And on that lovely note, we will end this very insightful, engaging, and informative conversation we have had here with Marie Arnaud-Thomas, social worker for 30 years. I would like my listeners to know that you empower minds and you ignite curiosity. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie, for joining us here on Teachers Have Issues. Yes.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much.